How's it going, everyone? It is 6 p.m. That means that we are doing our Thursday, which is actually my second Ask Me Anything text stream. How's everyone going? Mike, yeah, I know. I'm pretty excited to get out and do live stuff with my band again, too. It's kind of weird out there right now, isn't it? So, I'm just going to give us a wait for a couple more people to join. I got a couple of people on Twitch and YouTube. I've got 5 people on Facebook. How's it going, Facebook? How's it going, Alaka Sam? Oh, wait, that's Sam. How's it going, Sam? Over on Twitch there, hanging. No, you so beautiful, man. No. The real beauty is in what you did for our website, man. That was unreal. It was pretty unreal. Just cleaned everything up so nice. George, how's it going, man? Good to see you on Facebook, bud. So, everyone who's here, I'm going to be streaming until 7 p.m. tonight about going to be answering all of your questions, answering any little bits of advice that you might need regarding your audio or video setups at home, regarding music technology, regarding music theory. I'm sitting in a recording studio right now, as most of you might know. I own a recording studio called Swift Road Studios in the Chicagoland area. And you can find us at swiftroadrecording.com if you want to check out the studio, if you want to see any of the gear that we got. I just started this kind of stream this week. This is my second stream. And I'm pretty excited. Our first stream went pretty well. And basically here to kind of give you guys like a just an opportunity to just pick my brain. Anything that you need, anything that you want to know, anything that you're trying to figure out, hopefully we can help you out. Hopefully we can get you going, you know. George, good, been chilling, trying to get your IT certs. Man, that is fantastic that you're going for IT certification. I know obviously like we live in nothing but information technology like all around us. There's going to be a lot of good jobs out there for you, man. That's going to be fantastic. Mike, I did a great job on the Glacier LP. Man, that Glacier LP, all those guys, they are just fantastic musicians, and it was a lot of fun letting them invite me, or like having them invite me into their process. We did a lot of guitar tracks on that record. 2 different drummers on that record. It was obviously mixed by Lasse Lammer. I'm not really sure how to say his last name, but the man is a genius. Andy, I see you over there on Twitch. How's it going, man? Thanks for joining the stream. We got a bunch of people on Twitch now. We got a bunch of people on Facebook. This is pretty cool. So one of the things that I wanted to do today was try and figure out a way to get some like bits of music in there that like in the stream, so that like, and it's all basically just music that I wrote, that's totally like not that's not like able to be what do you call it, like uh copyright claimed or anything like that. So I tried to get in that going, but I'm not really sure what was happening with OBS. It was just not liking my desktop audio for some reason. So I'm going to try and figure that out for next week. So today we just kind of chilling. I got a bit of music playing through the speakers. You probably can't hear it too super well, but at least it just kind of fills my void a little bit. Padre is your bro. Yeah, man. Mike Padre. Mike Padre. Padre is a fantastic man, and he's a really nice guy and awesome singer. I had a lot of fun tracking him in our booth here. That was a great time. George, I want to say thank you so much for sharing the stream on Facebook. If you guys don't know, I am streaming to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube right now. So if you're on Facebook, please give us a little share or like the stream. If you want to, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Twitch, please give me a follow or a subscribe, and I would really appreciate it. It'll kind of like show me that you guys are listening, show me that you guys are here, and whenever I go live or post any videos, you will get a notification. All the love from Facebook. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Sam, is the mixer? Wow, we got 8 people on Facebook right now. That's fantastic. Sam, is the mixer in OBS capturing desktop audio or only mic? Right now, it's only capturing the microphone. Yeah, it's only capturing the microphone right now. But yeah, I tried running the desktop, but it kept wanting to default to Soundflower, which I was not even using. Mike Self shared. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate the share, bud. It means a lot to me. Yeah, no, Sam's talking to me on Twitch about my audio capture for the desktop audio to get some music in. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I had it going a long time ago where I could capture both Cubase audio and desktop audio, but it seems like it only wants one or the other, and I would rather have Cubase running this microphone through the chain and everything so that we can use it, and it sounds really sweet, crispy. So I'll figure out a way to get something going. Maybe some hard lines or something. We'll figure it out. Yeah, OBS on PC is way more stable than OBS on Mac, but OBS overall is a fantastic video broadcasting software. I've really enjoyed working with it so far, but having to use third-party audio drivers like Soundflower and Black Hole, it's kind of annoying, and it's very quickly making me want to go straight to something like Streamlabs or which is like the higher software from OBS, or I think there's some other ones. I think Neutron was another one that I was looking at, and yeah, something where like the audio options are way more integrated and well suited. George Lopez, Audio Technica. Okay, he's looking for a microphone recommendation here, comparing an Audio Technica AT2020 PK or an AKG P120. Let me actually look those up really quick. What DAW do I recommend for vocal recording? Let's get to that one next, but let's answer your question about the microphones. Let me see if I can pull up a screen here. George, with all the great questions today, dude, we're gonna hit all three of those, man. All right, so let's start with the microphone. I'm gonna try and get a screen up here. Audio Technica. Actually, I should switch this over. Display capture. Hey, there we go. Okay, so Audio Technica AT 2020. But I think you said the 2020 PK. So let me look at that one. 2020 PK. Streaming broadcast pack. Okay, interesting, interesting. So the 2020 PK seems to come with like everything that you need. It comes with a stand, it comes with the microphone, and it comes with headphones. That's pretty cool. Well, but what was the other one that you had? The AKG Perception 120. That's right, that's right. Got to shuffle my windows here a little bit. Oh, and that's coming in at 150 here. Now, the AKG Perception series, I have personally had. Oh wow, look at that! It's actually a suggested thing. $100 for just the microphone. I have to say that I have seen the AKG Perception series run pretty well. But that being said, I'm not certain that I was able to really. I'm not certain that I'm able to say that it was the 100 series. I think it was an AKG Perception 220 that I liked. The 120 I think sounded kind of strange in the mid range. That being said, I can always stand behind Audio Technica products. Personally, use 4040s and a 4050 and a couple other things from them in the studio, and I couldn't see you going wrong with an Audio Technica AT 2020, especially if it comes with a stand. Which I'm not saying that stand is going to be the best thing, or that the headphones that they give you are going to be the best, but the fact that it comes with all that stuff, it's not a bad deal if you're just kind of getting started with this. What DAW do I recommend for vocal recording was the other question that he had. Really, to be perfectly honest with you, you can get away with recording vocals in any DAW. That includes Fruity Loops, which I know that you've been using, George, Ableton, Logic, Cubase, Reaper, Pro Tools, obviously, like any of the big ones. I would say that it's probably the most simple on the main DAWs, because you're able to find way more professional solutions and grow into the DAW more. The professional ones being obviously, speaking specifically to George, like Ableton and Reaper and Pro Tools, which I know that you're probably not going to be a Pro Tools guy. Fruity Loops, I have some recording experience with it. We have Fruity Loops on this machine, but I don't know. Fruity Loops arranges things weird when you're recording them. It doesn't quite, like, I think Fruity Loops is way better when it comes to beat production if you're going to be doing that. And even then, I would still suggest that you start messing around with, suggest you start messing around with Ableton if you're able to. Either that or just make your beats in Fruity Loops. Make your beats in Fruity Loops. I'm way too Italian for this microphone. I can't stop. And then record your vocals into something like Reaper. And then his third questions, any neat plugins that are must-haves? Man, there are so many fantastic plugins out there. I cannot even, I may have to come up with a list for next time or something. But let's just start with a couple of basics. You want to get some kind of really nice compressor. Now, there is one thing out there called a really nice compressor, but But I would suggest something else right now. It is the what is it? Oh, wait a second. What is it? I'm sorry. It's the I'm gonna have to find it. Um, we've got the George. I'm gonna have to send you a link, man. Unless I can find it right now. I'm gonna try one more thing. I believe it is called the Pawn Shop Compressor. Yeah, there it is. Corniff Audio Pawn Shop Comp. I'm going to post this into your chat. This is just a fantastic plugin here. A couple of people recommended it to me, and oh my gosh, is it so good. That being said, also I would say look into things like the Slate bundle, look into FabFilter. Actually, I might even say try out the Slate bundle and try out FabFilter, because I know that both of them have demos, and I would start there and see which one you like better for what you're doing, and then figure out which one you wanna actually purchase. All right, let's see here. I got another question on Facebook from James Beard. Is there a viable booth solution? Is there a viable booth solution for making noise in an apartment, either DIY or prefab, e.g., whisper room? Something effective at keeping sound in for practicing things like metal screams, rock vocals, the occasional Irish tin whistle. All right, here's the thing. If you're worried about keeping noise in your room, you are going to have a really hard time with that in something like an apartment. The problem being that there is just so many, like, if you think about what sound is like literal air moving in like very set oscillating patterns. So what you're going to be looking at is a giant room that has a million holes in it where air can get through. And if there's not a hole in it, then you're looking at surfaces like drywall and then open space, like where like air can easily get through it and just pop right through to the other side of the wall. I've heard of people trying to, obviously you hear people putting egg cartons on their wall, which really doesn't do very much, if anything at all. People have tried putting like towels around their doors and stuff like that, just stuffing all that, and it still doesn't quite give you like what you're looking for. Like things can, like I said, things can still escape, like through the walls, through the drywall, through your ceiling, like up through the floor. The real only way to do it is to build an enclosure that's floating above your floor, that has a ceiling. And I know that there are a couple of things out there that are prefab, like you were talking about, but they usually end up being pretty cost prohibitive. You're going to pay, and they're all also quite large. So you're going to be looking at something like, you're going to be looking at anywhere from like $500 to $2,000 to like fit a booth into your room. And then from there, like it, like how much do you really need it? And do you really want this giant thing like in your room? Because then that totally just, that sets that space up only to be used for that. So if you're trying to convert your bedroom or your apartment space or anything like that into some kind of recording area, I would say that, like, sure, like, yeah, like you can get a prefab or build yourself something out of, a bunch of, what is it? I think it's Owens Corning 605 or 602 or 603. I can't remember the numbers right now offhand, but but you can make something out of that and like kind of like build a little hut and spend a lot less money, maybe somewhere close to like $200, but again, it's still going to be taking you, you know, taking up that space. So you kind of got to like section off that space only for booth recording. So yeah, there's a couple options there, but you kind of got to decide on the space. And I would say that if you wanted something like, if you wanted to actually pull the trigger on it, I would say build it yourself, or, you know, call me out there or someone, you know who can help you build something like that, and we can do it. But yeah, do you want to isolate just that space? Sam has a question on Twitch. Here's a question. Do you have any general rule of thumb when it comes to mixing and or editing vocals? Okay. Yes. There are some fantastic basics when it comes to recording vocals, kind of going, kind of touching a little bit on James Beard, what he was talking about. One of the biggest problems when let's talk about like recording vocals for a second before we get to mixing them, is that you don't want a whole lot of your room, if you like, unless you're in a really nicely acoustically treated space, you're not going to want a whole lot of that room echo, that room sound, that slap back, like coming into your microphone, because it's going to, once you start compressing that signal, you start bringing out all the noise that's underneath just the direct voice. So like if I like, really, this microphone isn't just picking up what's in front of me or what's in front of it, it's actually kind of picking up everything around here. You just don't hear it. It's because my compressor isn't set super aggressive. But once you start putting vocals into music, you got to make sure that it's compressed well enough that it always stays out front, right? If you record in a bad space, then you're going to get all that little bits of echo, and it's going to sound a little more distant than you probably want it to. Also, when it comes to editing vocals, I would say that you just have to have a light touch. You have to have really good editing theory, knowing exactly where to slice, and, you know, having really good crossfades where it's not interfering with any syllables. It's not interfering with any of like the little in between things, and that when you play it back, it still sounds like a smooth vocal take. Vocals are arguably like the most, if not one of the most, if not the most pieces of a mix, because they're the thing that everyone, the average listener, is going to be relating to. So what you're going to want is no distractions in that. It's one of the reasons why people fought, tuning so much, because the tuning software was so harsh and it just sounded rough. And we kind of got used to it now, and now we use it in creative ways. But the idea that you can have this like nice constant stream of vocal sound without any like weird hiccups in it. So editing vocals, just make sure that everything sounds super smooth. And also, a lot of people like to like chop in and like get rid of little breaths and things like that, like before a vocal take. Sometimes you want a little bit of that in there, like a little bit of those in betweens. But what you can do is like just knock them down, because they don't need to be da 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 da. You might just want to cut in and then just knock that little piece down, but not totally remove it, because then it sounds kind of unnatural. And if you're doing pop music, sure, unnatural and processed might be a good way to go. But if you're kind of capturing someone's actual performance, you may want to keep those sounds in there, but just make sure that the clip gain is down on those, and then crossfade in between. Mixing vocals, also making sure that you have adequate space in your instrumental sonically for the vocals to sit. Vocals sit anywhere from their main resonance is anywhere from like 800 to 1200 hertz, right? So things like guitars and pianos and all these melodic instruments are going to be taking up a lot of space in that range. And what you'll want to do is maybe use clever bits of EQ, use clever bits of dynamic EQ, also called multiband compression, so that you can make some space in your mix so that those vocals don't have to sit so much higher than everything else, and they'll just kind of like blend well with it. Oh. We had a little video cut out. I'm still trying to figure out why my camera is going to sleep, even though I have all of the settings telling it to not go to sleep. I may have to just reset the firmware or something. George Lopez on Facebook. George, hitting me with all the questions. I love it, man. Would you ever upload a cut technique video or pointer video on how to get a good vocal placement on a track? Also, will isolation shield and EQ do the job without the vocal cage? Okay, George, if you could clarify for me a little bit, what do you mean by vocal placement? Are you talking about recording vocals, or are you talking about mixing vocals, like where it should be placed in a mix, where it should be, let me know what you mean by vocal placement specifically. Also, will isolation, shield, and EQ do the job without the vocal cage? Okay, so I've seen those isolation shields, which I think are really funny. And I kind of get where they're coming from on this. You know, if you've ever seen this thing, I wonder if I can like grab a book or something. Basically, you'll have a microphone like this, right? Like you're singing into the microphone, and there will be a cage much larger than this, but it will literally like cover up the back of the microphone, and it'll totally enclose the back of it so that when you're going into it, your vocals don't shoot out the other side and like hit a wall and then bounce back and kind of like bounce all over the room. The problem with that is that those isolation cages are only protecting the back of the mic. There's nothing behind the person. There's nothing above my head. Like the human body isn't, like the mouth is not the only speaker on a human body. The human voice comes out of many places. The nose and like all your sinuses up here are projecting out. Your mouth and like all the direct air is, yes, coming out of here, but then also your chest has a lot of sound coming from it that kind of goes out as well. And also the human body doesn't just push out sound in one direction. It's pushing it out in 3D, 360 all the way around. I don't know how many degrees are in a sphere, but you know what I mean? Like the human body is projecting sound in all directions. So when that ISO shield is only coming right here, also the microphone is rejecting already what's behind it. So when you have an isolation shield set up right here behind it only, it's not doing very much. So I would say that what you need to do is kind of like what James Beard was talking about. You need to have something like dead behind them, dead over them and on the sides, and like have some kind of enclosure. Now in my broke days, in my starter days, I was legitimately using blankets and things like that, because I didn't have gobos and panels like I have now. But it's, you know, the other option is to not use a condenser microphone and to use something like this. This is a Shure SM7B, and not only is it rejecting things from behind it, but overall the pickup on it, because there's actually, if I can show you the design of this, it's going to get a little noisy. There's a whole cage in front of this thing that doesn't really block out a whole lot of sound, but overall it knocks down the plosives a lot. Like, now I'm exaggerating it, so that's actually gonna cause a pretty harsh plosive when I'm right into it. But the idea being that you can get right up close to it and I can talk perfectly normally, or I can get really loud on it and it's not really going to affect it. Also, if you're really up close to it, you're not getting as much of the room. So that's kind of what makes these microphones so fantastic over something like a condenser, where you'll get way more detail, but you need to be in a better acoustic space. Meant as in chop the vocals, post recording the vocals. Oh, okay. So yeah. So that kind of goes back to what Sam was asking about on Twitch, where he was asking like rules of thumb when it comes to editing vocals. So yeah. I mean, I would love to put together a like a tutorial video on how I would edit a vocal part, how I would, you know, record things in, clean things up, put it into a mix, etc. Um, like I'm definitely getting there. I need to get a little bit. I think I need to get a little bit better with my audio sync between Cubase and video capture and all that. But yeah, I would love to do something like that. But just for your own knowledge, let's talk about just a couple of tools first. Know all of your tools. Know your slicer tool, your pointer tool. Know your hotkeys that maybe you can switch between them very easily. Slip editing tool if you have one in your DAW. Just know your tools really well and how to access them. And whenever you are also, there is another great feature that most DAWs have easily accessible, which is something like a wave zoom, where it's not zooming in and out on your project. It's actually the you know, the squiggly line of your vocal wave. It'll actually allow you to kind of blow that up in the track and zoom in on that. And that lets you see like details of things that are way quieter, things like breaths, things like, you know, little noises that are ambient, and that lets you kind of make your cuts directly on silence or directly up to the thing that you're trying to, you know, only let it pass through. So make sure that you know your tools. Use the wave zoom a lot. I go up and down with that thing all the time. Also, just like what I was telling Sam, make sure that you're using good crossfades at good places. You don't want to be crossfading like on a word. You don't want to be crossfading between like two parts that have nothing to do with each other, unless you line them up really well. You want your, like when you play back an audio track, you want it to sound very, very smooth. You know, usually you try to go with the shortest crossfade possible where it still sounds smooth. But on certain things, don't be afraid to open that crossfade up a little bit if it means that you're going to be getting a smoother result out of it and it sounds natural. This, the whole idea is that you want this really natural flowing vocal from beginning to end without any hiccups that people can key into. Because we're really good at picking up on like when a human voice sounds weird or sounds off. We're really, our brains are specifically keyed into doing that kind of thing. So. Man, I really, really got to figure this thing out with the music on the stream, because I got some cool tracks that I wish would just like fill in this space for you guys. At least I get to jam out. Wow, it's already 6:30. Man, this is going fast. I mean, it's only 1 hour, but still. Oh, wow. Sam and Michael both shared the video on Facebook, the stream on Facebook. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. The more you guys share it, the more you like it, the more people are going to be able to see that it exists and maybe pop in with some questions. I still like the idea much more of leaving this as like an open forum question type thing, where I don't want to be explaining something that I have on a list for like 10 minutes and then like people start asking questions and stuff. So like I definitely want to leave this space open for people to ask questions, you know. OBS, George with a comment on Facebook. OBS is whack with audio, super complicated. I have capture cards and sometimes I need to unplug and plug them back in just to get those kick. Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, just OBS is a free software, so like we have to mitigate our expectations just a little bit, right? Because it is free, and for being free, it does a great job. But I don't know, like I wish, like when you're diving into audio settings on OBS, you get things like what tracks do you want to activate on it, and it's like there's no real explanation on like which audio input or output you're activating. You're just selecting a device and then selecting tracks 1 through 6. Well, my audio system has like 60 plus connections on it. Not all those are represented. Which tracks am I activating? Who knows? Um, but that I think that's kind of the difference between like a free software and a paid software. Um, so yeah, no, OBS is pretty cool for what it is, but it definitely has its limitations when you're trying to set up complicated things. George saying, I've tried Streamlabs and Elgato Stream. OBS is just so much more freedom, but it makes it more complex to just broadcast. Now, it is true that that you get a lot of freedom with OBS. When it comes, like they really do pack a lot of features into a small package, into a small free package, and that is really cool. Um, However, yeah, like unless you know your audio system really well on your machine, or if you are just a wizard with OBS, like I said, yeah, it can just be like really annoying. Not limiting necessarily, but just annoying. Like today, I was trying to try some different arrangements with my little audio drivers that I have to use, like Soundflower and Blackhole, to go between software management, and OBS just kept like resetting, like or rather I had to keep resetting OBS like every time I wanted to make a small change, and it just wasn't correlating with inputs and outputs properly. And yeah. Ah, George, what is a good amp simulator plugin for any DAW, or one you use or recommend for guitars? Okay, man. Like, there's a deluge of guitar plugins out there, and not all of them are equal. Um, I have to say that I personally use. I've got a bunch of Neural DSP stuff. I'll drop you a link. So here's a link to Neural DSP. Um, I own a couple of them. One of them being the Fortin Nameless, which is based on a Fortin modded Marshall JMP Plexi type, and it's built for metal. I've done a lot of rock stuff with it too, because we got a lot of guitar voices here and stuff, but it's mostly voiced for metal. That being said, it is one of the best like like amp and cab experience plugins, where like they give you a little amp that you turn knobs on, and a cabinet that you can move around microphones and stuff. It's really really nice. It's really sweet. It's very cool. um, but if you're looking for a much more of an all-around type of plugin, And actually, the great thing about Neural DSP is that you can download all of these for free for like a 14-day demo for every single one of them, and it's pretty sick. But I really enjoy personally, like when I'm sitting down to write, when I'm sitting down to play anything, or if I've got like an entire mix that's finished and oh my gosh, like we just need one more guitar layer. I will just pull up the Neural DSP Plini plugin, and you know the clean tones are beautiful. The drive and lead tones are really nice. The higher gain model on it, it's not as metal as most people might want, but I mean, like it covers a lot of ground, man. Like, so maybe you can't do like, you know, Humanity's Last Breath or Hive kind of stuff with it, but man, you can cover a lot of ground with just the Plini plugin. The other one that I had a great experience with was the Nolly Get Good, the Nolly pack from Neural DSP. Also fantastic. Again, just wide range of tones. One of the best sounding amp packs out there. But another company that I've had run-in with is called STL Tones. Who is that by? Yeah, it's just STL Tones, and they have these plugin packs, and there are a lot of famous producers out there. All right, George, I dropped you another link in the Facebook chat. STL Tones, the Will Putney pack is like just one of the best high gain modern distortion tones that I've heard from a plugin, and it is so good. I believe Sam Botner is using a lot of STL. There's a lot of fantastic producers that I'm friends with who use them like across Facebook and Instagram. I see them using it, them talking to me about it in their mixes. It's very, very nice stuff. And they have a lot of different packs out there that you can get that covers a lot of ground again. So these plugins are fantastic because you can just plug in a guitar. You don't need an amp. You don't need a cab. It's just like having something like an Axe-Fx or Pod Farm like just built into your computer. Well, Pod Farm was in the computer, but you know what I mean. You could just plug your guitar right in to your interface or with a DI box, you know, if you're trying to go pro with it. And you just have an entire amp library just right there in your DAW, and you can just plug it into any mix, any production project. Like you can just do it all right there with it. So good stuff. Lots of good stuff out there for recording guitars. Hey, we got other people on YouTube. Nice. Oh, here's another note about Neural DSP plugins. Those guitar plugins, they have this fantastic way about them that you can do them, that you can run them in what's called standalone mode. So, which means that you don't even need to have your DAW open to use it. If you just want to like plug into your system and play a bit, you can just open them up in standalone mode, and you'll get like the actual plugin screen like on your desktop, and with all the options, everything that you need. You select your input, select your output, just like with anything else, and you just have a guitar amp just right there on your computer desktop. It's very, very useful, very convenient, and they just sound amazing, like, to be honest. We got more likes on Facebook. I wish I could find a way to send this stream over to I wish I could find a way to send the stream over to Instagram as well, because I feel like there would be a lot of people on my Instagram who would like this stream. But one of the ideas that I'm thinking about is maybe just cropping out like the specific questions and answers that you guys have, and just uploading those individual answers both up to Instagram periodically and also on YouTube for like a backlog of great questions with good answers and things like that. So trying to figure out a way that these streams can kind of stay up in a nice organized way so that you don't have to like like watch the whole thing just to get a couple of answers and see if I touch on something you're interested in. Sorry, I cannot talk today. It's not a very good point for a broadcast streamer, but I'm getting used to it. We got more likes on Facebook. Thank you, Mike. This session really is going fast. It's already 6:45. Oh my gosh. So again, I'm going to be streaming until about 7 o'clock tonight, and we are answering questions about audio, questions about video, questions about recording setups, recording studios, home setups, how to connect preamps, microphones, how to get certain instruments into your system, and with connections that you don't really know how to use, like MIDI, or how do you take a keyboard like into your system properly. Talking about drums, talking about music theory. Any music theory nerds out there that that need like a explanation on like what a musical key is, or a mode, or something like that. Yeah. Ah, Mike. Mike on Facebook asking, tell us about the studio. Um, all right. So, kind of told you guys a little bit at the beginning of the stream, but for any newcomers, my name is Vincent, and I own a recording studio here in the Chicagoland area. It's in Arlington Heights, called Swift Road Studios. This is my third commercial location that I've been at, and it is also. Sorry, someone actually just walked in my front door and then closed the door. I'm not sure what. I might have been like some kind of dasher. I really should lock my doors when I'm doing this. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm in downtown Arlington Heights, and we have been here for about 2.5 years. Although this studio that I'm currently in has been a staple in the neighborhood, I think, for close to 20 years, 15, 20 years. Um, but we're currently occupying it, and we've got a lot of drums. We got a lot of guitars. We actually just got a Hammond organ, which I'm pretty excited about. The thing sounds amazing. I've had a couple of people come in here and shred on it. It's pretty sweet. We are geared towards recording bands like live if they want to, or we obviously do like full production, like instrument by instrument. We do singles, we do videos, we do full album productions. We do everything from rap and hip hop to pop music, lounge and jazz music. We do a lot of rock, a lot of metal, actually a lot of indie rock and math rock seems to come through here. It's pretty good. We got another question from Facebook. Ben Skins. Hey, I got a weird one. So I've been in and out of video due to work. So I have been in and out of the video due to work requirements. On the subjects of amp sims. Well, by the way, thanks for sticking around through work. Don't ignore your responsibilities, but appreciate you hanging. On the subject of amp sims, do you know of any decent emulated amp plugins that will allow for an effects loop? I've been running the STL Tunes Emissary head, but have not found any sort of way to get time-based plugins between the preamp and output sections. I definitely don't want to run reverb and delay on the front end, and definitely not behind head and IR plugins. So here's a question. When you're creating your guitar chain, Andy, yeah, man, the Plini plugin is amazing, isn't it? Sorry, comments on Facebook. So when we're talking about these amp plugins, specifically the IRs, there's kind of a reason why when we're running a like an actual amping cab and like the cab is loud blaring out in the room, why we may want to have the delay or the reverb before or after the amp before the cabinet, right? Like after the preamp before the power amp in the effects loop. And that's one of the reasons is because we're dealing with real air here, and you're really trying to kind of capture this. Like if we have like a tape delay, like I have a Maestro Echoplex, and like we want to hear the sound of the cabinet get kind of distorted a little bit by too much delay building up if we're doing something wild, or we want to hear like the reverb on some kind of a Fender amp running through that Fender cabinet, moving real air going into a microphone. There's real physics at play there, right? But when we're talking about a plugin that has a cabinet IR, yes, it's definitely like somewhat time based, because you do have an envelope, you know, as a waveform that the IR is the capture software is reading, and then it's creating this cabinet sound, right? Comparatively to it's using it to compare like what a raw sound would be versus a cabinet sound would be, and it's kind of showing you the difference, and that's what we hear. With a plugin, there's no real air moving. With a plugin, even if you're doing something even if you're doing something like delay or reverb, you're not really affecting the sound that's going into that IR in the same way that you would be if it was going into a real cabinet. So I personally haven't found anything that allows you to put your own effects chain in between there, short of actually maybe just using the amp and then having another plugin for your effects, and then having another plugin just for your IR that you would look like a cab or like an IR loader. You could do that route, but then you're negating some of the cabinet sounds that are in your plugin already, and you may want to use those. One thing that I can say that's great about Neural DSP is if you're really worried about that, the Neural DSP plugins actually give you like an emulated chain. And from my understanding, I think actually I can probably pull it up, the Plini right now. From my understanding, I believe the effects chain legitimately. Okay, yeah, actually, no. Even in Neural DSP, it still puts the effects after the IR. But again, I'm not convinced that is a big deal when it comes to IRs, because again, there's no real air moving. So I would say that you can really just not worry about it so much and put your effects after the IR. If there are any engineers in chat who want to disagree with me and debate about it, we can, because I would love to see some scientific, like evidence for that. But for the most part, when we're not talking about real physics in the real world, we're just talking about something that's virtual, literally. Yeah, that becomes less of an issue. And also, I agree. Yeah, unless you're putting like an Echoplex in front of a Fender Twin or something like that, or Princeton or whatever, or a Plexi or a Marshall. Like, yeah, you're not trying to. Oh, we lost. I'm going to kill my camera, but you know. Unless you're putting like an Echoplex in front of something like that, yeah, you definitely don't want your time-based effects and things like before the amp plug-in anyway. So like, putting that stuff after, not a big deal. That's fair and makes some sense. I've never tried that after IR. Much appreciated. Ben, thank you for the fantastic question. I think that's something that a lot of people wonder about. So yeah, thanks for the question. I'm glad I could be of a bit of help. We got more likes on Facebook. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate the love, man. Dan Batista, dude, what's up? Oh, sorry, man. I was answering your question. I didn't get to say hi to you. How's it going, man? Dan Batista used to be a drummer in an amazing band called Alma, A Life More Acceptable. They're kind of like that, like I don't know, post grunge, little bit of butt rock, but like it's such good stuff. And like Dan's an amazing drummer. Hopefully this winter time they're coming in here to do a single. As long as we can get everyone, I think there's some geological logistics to go through. Wow, it's already 6:57. Oh my gosh. We are almost done here, guys. I'll stay on for a little bit longer. A little bit after 7 if we get some questions in. Definitely want to answer anything that you guys have. We're talking about audio, we're talking about interfaces, preamps, microphones, plugins, compressors, reverbs, guitar amps, drums, cables. All right, Dan actually asked a pretty good question here on Facebook, and it's an age-old question if you've been around the guitar scene for the past like 10, 15 years. He says, things are going. Hope you're well. I am doing well, sir. Thank you very much. And he goes on to ask, Kemper or real this go? I'm not sure what he means by this go. I think that may have been a typo. But maybe he means like Kemper or real amp. I'm going to assume that you mean. Just comment and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going to go ahead and answer that because I'm pretty sure that's what you mean. If he's asking whether I prefer something like a Kemper versus a real amp, and I have to say that I did own a Kemper for a very, very short period of time. It was like a week, and I personally, I preferred the Axe-Fx 2. I had an Axe-Fx 2 for a few years, and that thing was just a powerhouse. And I get why people love, the real thing. Right. I personally preferred the Axe-Fx 2 over the Kemper, but that's because I'm a super tech guy and like the little LCD screen didn't bother me. A lot of guys like the Kemper because it's a bunch of knobs and lights and it reminds them more of an amp, and that's super cool. And I do love that experience, but honestly, like it's all useful. Like if you're recording in a space where you're not able to turn up your cabinet and like really push some air and like really capture it with a microphone on it, or you just don't even want to deal with it and you're just always recording guitar music, always recording guitar, and you need something to be ultra reliable with the sounds that it makes and with the curves that you're able to put on it, and then get that tone, repeat it every single time, then yeah, Kemper or Axe-Fx is definitely a fantastic way to go. And between the two of them, pick your price point, pick your poison. They're both fantastic units. But when it comes to real amps, it's like we've got a beautiful amp wall here. I should pick up the camera and show you guys, but it's kind of in a set position right now. But we got a beautiful amp wall here. We got a room that I can turn up to like 120 decibels, like 24/7 if we want to. It's like, why wouldn't we run that, right? Like kind of capture a moment, right? So, and I found that when I had an Axe-Fx on hand in the studio, in the rack, ready to go, plugged in, people still just looked at the amp rack and they were like, hey, why, like, I want to play through this thing. Like, this thing sounds amazing. This thing looks awesome. I remember these, like specifically about a certain amp that they recognize or not. And everyone always wanted to use that anyway. So personally, I had no use for the Axe-Fx anymore. It was never being used. I even tried pushing it sometimes and saying, hey guys, this Axe-Fx is really amazing. Like it might have like exactly what we want. Someone would say, no. I still want to use the Diesel. Or no. You got that Fender out there, man. Let's use that thing. And I get it. Like, yeah, sure. Plug into the real thing if you got it. If you got a mic, if you got some nice mics, you got some open space that you can blast in, mic it up. But there's definitely a lot of utility in having like a Kemper or an Axe-Fx or something like that. Or like we were talking about earlier, even just plugins, like just built right into your computer that sound on par, like just as good as an Axe-Fx or a Kemper. So, bigger pardon. So yeah, between Kemper or the real thing, man, can the place where you're playing at handle those dBs? If so, then I would say, get good at miking up a cab. Understand what it means to mic up a cab, and you'll be a better engineer for it. But if you're just looking for something that's just going to do its job, and you just got to punch in, do the job, punch out, and you're good, Kemper is a great way to go. But with the Kemper, just be really careful, because not all of those amp models that you download from the internet sound amazing. Sometimes you can be duped by and be like, oh, this sounds great, but then you bring it in your car or listen elsewhere and like it just doesn't sound right. So have a lot of models with that Kemper to choose from. Really know your gear. By the way, Dan, thank you for the fantastic question. That was great, man. I was waiting for someone to bring something like that up. And also Samantha on Facebook, thank you so much for the share. I hope you're tuning in for a little bit, but I'm actually about to finish up. It is 7:03. Unless anyone has any questions, last minute questions, I'm going to we'll go until 7:05. I'll give it 2 more minutes and see if we get one more question in here. I'm just going to go ahead and like all of these questions, because you guys have been fantastic today with this stuff. And of course, because I just feel the love, I'm gonna send you guys off with hearts on all these comments. As if it matters. Dan, you need my services. Thanks for answering and vibing. Good stuff. Hope everything is going good. Vincenzo, George, thank you. You're a beautiful man. And from what I've seen, you're being a beautiful father. Dan, I need your services ASAP. I DM'd you. Dude, Dan, I like, let's go, man. I'm ready. Like, I will check my DMs after this for sure. The hearts are heartfelt. Thank you, man. I feel it too. All right, guys, everyone, girls, NBs, everyone in between. I really appreciate all of the love and all of the questions. Y'all are literally the best. I will see you next time, next week on Tuesday. What is Tuesday gonna be? Let's look at a calendar here just so that I can be thorough. I will see you Tuesday, the 20th at 6 p.m. We'll be doing the exact same thing, maybe with a little more refinement touched in with it. But Tuesday at 6 p.m. on the 20th for the next Ask Me Anything text stream. Until then, my name is Vincent Ippolito. I'm here at Swift Road Studios. Please check us out at swiftroadrecording.com. If you need anything, if you just got more questions in between the week, or if you just want to like hit me up and come see the studio and hang out a bit sometime. We're always doing something cool here. So thank you so much for tuning into the stream. I'll catch you guys all later. Peace.